Um, we'll be discussing how to find the midpoint of an interval given its two ends. So again, if you look here, we have the interval a, b, and c is midpoint of a, b. So it is exactly halfway between a and b. In other words, the lengths of AC and BC are equal. So C splits AB into two equal parts. Now, the question is that if I know the coordinates of A and I know the coordinates of B, how can I find the coordinates of C? In this example that we put here, A is here, B is here, and C is here. The coordinates of A is 1 for x and 2 for y, and the coordinates of B is 7 for x and 6 for y. The coordinates of C is 4 for x and also 4 for y. If we find the average of the x's of A and B, let's see what we get. Remember, to find the average of any two numbers, you add them up and divide by 2. Here, I want to find the average of x of A, which is 1, and x of B, which is 7. So the average of two x's. So I add 1 and 7, that becomes 8. Then I divide by 2. I get 4. So this is exactly the x of the point C. So that tells me if I find the average of the x's of the two ends, I get the x of the middle. Let's look at their y's. So the y of the point A is 2. The y value for B is 6. So 2 and 6. I want to find their average. I add 2 and 6, I get 8, and divide by 2, I get 4. So 4 is the average of the y values, which happens to be the y of the point C. So this tells us to find the coordinates of the midpoint, all we need to do is to average the x values to get the x of the midpoint and average the y values of the endpoints to get the y value of the midpoint. Let's have a look at an example. So here they have given me the point P with an x value of 2 and the y value of 7, and the point S with an x value of 8 and a y value of 5. So I have an interval PS and I want to find the coordinates of the midpoint of PS. And to do that, what we are going to do, we are going to average the x values to get to the x value of m. So I have 2 for P and 8 for S. 2 plus 8 is 10, then divide by 2, you get 5. So make sure that you put them in bracket. Otherwise, it will give you the wrong answer. First, we need to add them. So add the x's and divide by 2. 5. And if you look at the point M, you will see actually it is right because you have 5 for the x of M. For the y of M, again, add the y's of the ends and divide by 2. So y of S is 5 and y of P is 7. 5 plus 7 is 12 divided by 2 is 6. 7 plus 5 in the bracket divided by 2 gives us 6. So this way I find the coordinates of m. So the x of m is what I got for the average of x's, which is 5, and the y of m is what I've got for the average of y's, which is 6. So m is 5, comma 6. Also, you can use this formula. Rather than doing this method, you can just remember this formula. M midpoint has got an x coordinate, which is found by this, a fraction, where you add the x's of the two ends, x1 and x2, and divide by 2. And the y of the midpoint is found by adding the y's of the two ends, y1 plus y1 divided y2 divided by 2. For this example, if I want to do it that way, so m will have coordinates of m bracket x's of the ends. So 2 x of this end, x of the other end, 8. So 2 plus 8 over 2. Then comma, then y of one end, which is 5, and the y of the other end is 7. It doesn't matter which one you take as y1 and y2, as long as you have both y's here. So one of the y's is 5, the other y is 7. So add them up and put over 2 based on this formula. So m becomes bracket 2 plus 8 on 2, because x1 I took it as 2, x2 I took it as 8, y1 I took it as 7, and y2 I took it as 5. So these have to be y's, these have to be x's. And then 2 and 8 is 10, 10 on 2, and 7 and 5 is 12 over 2. And if you put that in your calculator or you simplify that, you will see that 10 on 2 is 5. Or 10 divided by 2 is 5. You can divide it. Fraction is the same as division. If possible, you can divide. 12 divided by 2 is 6. So m has the coordinates of 5 and 6, which is the same answer we had before. Thank you for your attention.